Brazil took on Italy in their last group game of the Women's World Cup. Italy just needed a tie in this game, and Brazil needed all 3 points because if they were wanting to get a better position in the group, knowing that they probably could have got third, they ended up getting third. Basically, all teams tied with points. Italy ended up with 6, Brazil ended up with 6, and Australia also ended up with 6. But since Italy had the better record in goal scoring, and they only got, I think, 2 goals scored on them, basically they ended up as first, and then Australia scoring more goals than Brazil in this group stage. They got the second place because of goal difference, and just basically goal difference was the deciding factor where every team placed in this group. And I think that they said that the Brazilians were going to face Norway and maybe the knockout rounds after how everything played out. And for me, they're not going to pass that because for me, the Norwegian girls are a better team than this Brazilian team. This team is kind of overhyped just because of the name they have, just because it's Brazil, just because of Marta's record, whatever. For me, like I saw the game, it wasn't really that convincing of a performance by Brazil. It wasn't really exciting. It was a really close game. I mean, these are two big national teams in the men's game, and I guess in the women's game as well. For me, the better team was Italy. They pass better. They hold up play better. They involve the attacking players in the play better than the Brazilians do. And they just use more team play in their possession. That's, for me, more of consequence than the Brazilians. The Brazilians kind of want to take out their flair. They want to take out the joga bonito, little flicks and passes and little tricks and things like that are really good, really catching to the eye, but not for this game since it was really tight. And I felt like that was what cost them, like, to just be able to win by a penalty. For me, it wasn't a penalty. This is basically the instance where it happened. I feel like the defender just basically got in front of the Brazilian player, and she just basically just won the ball because the Brazilian player, she started from like 3/4 of the field, and she came running in. She took on like 2 players and got past them, but as she got past the last one, she kicked the ball too forward, and when that happened, the other player, the Italian player, got in front of her and just basically won the possession. For me, like, the number 10 in Italy is a really good player. I think her name is Christiane, something like that. And for me, her skill, her hold-up play, she also has a little flair in her as well. And she's really good at passing, getting the other players involved in the team. And she also scored, I think, like a hat trick in their last game against Jamaica. And just I feel like the Italians have a better offense, as well as the number 11 on Italy. I forgot her name. I think it's Sega, something like that. I'm not too sure. But she's also an attacking threat. She was really clinical at the beginning, where she was cutting inside and like shooting from her right foot. She had some really close chances at the beginning, and I think she even had like one of the clearest chances for Italy, where it was a cross and she just hit it first time with her left foot, but it wasn't hard enough and the goalie saved it. And the Brazilians ended up being actually getting all 3 points in this game because of a penalty. Like I said, not for my decision, it wasn't a penalty, but it's good for Marta. It's good for her records, I guess. It's good for all the papers. It's good for the audience, who I guess they're just looking at the score, or if they did see the game, they're just glad that somebody scored and it wasn't just a 0-0. For me, a draw would have been more of a fair result for both sides. I feel like the Italians should have won, in my opinion, but I guess it's just subjective, just like the penalty call. I mean, there's VAR, and I felt like the VAR should have interfered more, actually made the referee actually go and look at the certain instance, the foul, in this game, and I feel like that's what cost the Italians this game. I felt like they were a better team. Probably a 0-0 would have been more fair. But good for Marta. Good for the Brazilian team. It gives them confidence for the next round. I don't think they're going to pass it. I don't know. This is the celebration that Marta did. I don't know what that means. Last time I checked, or I saw that she like pointed to her shoe. It had like something that to do with equality, things like that. But good for her. She's been the Ballon d'Oro winner for the women's division, or the women in the women's area, for about like 6 times already. She's been up there. She's been doing this for a long time. I mean, her in this game, I didn't feel like she was very influential. She did have her sparks of brilliance with like the take on she did, getting across other players and things like that. But for me, she's too old of age. She can't run as well as she used to. And I mean, we'll see what happens in the next round. Just like I said, in my opinion, I don't feel like they will go through. But I mean, we don't know. It's all different. Maybe they might get another penalty call and they might just go through that. But me knowing the Norwegians, I feel like they're a team to beat. They're one of the top teams in the women's division. And I feel like they will get the upper hand on Brazil, and they won't let the game go into these instances. And also, Italy is a relatively new team to the women's division. A lot of these teams, or a lot of these countries in this World Cup, they haven't had a women's team, or they don't have like a professional league. And so they're all basically just starting to form. And I'm glad that Italy has a really strong team in this instance. For me, in my personal opinion, I wish I would have saw the Australia versus Jamaica game also in this group, or also today, because of the performance by Sam Kerr. I knew she was a top player. I seen her play against the U.S. I think it was like some highlights that I saw. Maybe it was on She Believes Cup, I think. I don't know. It was like 2 years ago. And like she scored a hat trick against the U.S. and some of the goals she scored were just like, they were amazing. And it just took my breath away. And I wish I would have saw her perform today. I saw that she made like 2 headers. And then there was like this other cross that like fell in the box. And I think a defender deflected the cross. And it just landed on Sam Kerr. It landed to Sam Kerr and she just slotted it in. I'm not too sure about the 4th goal. I didn't get to see it. But, it must have been a great game. Good for Sam Kerr that she was able to get her 4 goals. I don't know. I feel like because of these low-level teams, not low-level teams, but these lower-ranked teams, these lower ability teams, certain players are going to get these type of records. It's not a bad thing, but it basically just does away with like the records, like Marta's record, where she has like 17 goals. And then like you see Sam Kerr just scored 4 in one game, and then Alex Morgan scored like 5 in another. We'll see what happens in the future, depending. Maybe like these women will probably score like 4 or 5 each game. Not each game, but each World Cup, and it'll probably just even out, and we'll see if someone can actually beat Marta's record. For me, my bet is either Sam Kerr or maybe Alex Morgan in the future. But good for her. Good that she got her 4 goals. Good for women's football. We'll see what happens in the future. Sam Kerr is a great player, and I hope that she goes far in this competition. At the same time, I don't think she probably will, because I saw the highlights. I only saw the highlights. I didn't see the game between Australia and Italy, and I felt that her defense is basically letting her down. So I don't really expect them to go far in this competition. And like I said, maybe the Brazilian girls were a disappointment, but we'll see what happens with the guys in their game that they have today, also in the Copa America, and we'll see if they can actually get the upper hand on Venezuela, and we'll see what happens. Hope y'all liked the video.